Alright, it's fucking like 7 in the morning. I didn't sleep. Motherfucking chilling with the Antichrist. Coming in again, hot. So we're gonna elaborate more on the plan of what we're doing.
Yeah, so a lot of people have questioned exactly what our intentions and our methods of carrying this out are, so we will elaborate today.
So, me and Kellison are about to go trek to go pick up some more people and start a convoy of traveling artists, whatnot, whatever people are doing, selling, to rack up money to start a charity. The charity,
Yeah, so like, we're all artists. I'm an author. I write books. I've got 3 of them here that Curtis is actually in possession of and reading.
yeah.
These are my books. I wrote them. Anyhow, if you actually have an interest in that, you can look on my page because I've literally promoted them. And I mean, I'm the author of the Airborne series. You can click the link for that.
I just released a fucking EP that I'm trying to promote to maybe make money or whatever.
He does Crow Skeleton. That's his band. You should check that out. He speaks out about veganism and animal rights and the cruelty of the animal harvesting farm trade.
But anyway, this is besides the point.
Yeah,
The point.
We're all artists, and I'm an author. He is a musician. I also do lyrics and vocals. He does all the instruments. He does his own lyrics and vocals, and every single one of our followers is skilled in some form of art, and at the least, they're good at manual labor. So that being said, we're going to go on the caravan using our art to spread the message to also acquire revenue, because really, if you're doing a traveling festival, who doesn't want to see that? Look at Woodstock, Burning Man, all this shit. Who wouldn't want to see Jesus Christ and the followers, or the Antichrists, or whatever the fuck you want to call us? It's a very odd thing that people would want to buy into. Now, once they start buying into it, we start acquiring funds. We're living bill-free because we're literally a traveling caravan, so we don't have bills. We just pay gas and food. We have the vehicles, which are already owned. So essentially, once we make enough money to buy between 5 to 15 acres of land, you can get that for like $5,000 to $7,000. You can put a down payment of $500 and pay $200 to $300 a month. And then you've got the land. Either way, you put campers on the land, you grow food, veg, hemp, all that shit. Dude, in a legal state, you can grow legal weed. Now, we've already done all the calculations. I can go into that in another video, but essentially, this is the layout. You look at it, this is a tesseract greenhouse. Now, we can do campers and above ground structures on the ground, but at some point down the road when the charity is fully running, you've got a tesseract vertical greenhouse. So this is the ground level. That's all plants, food. This is the second level, all plants, food. And it goes up each tier, and it's a greenhouse, so these triangles are glass. All of this land, the flat lines, are all levels, tiers, where you're growing fruit, food, vegetation. You can make processed food like burgers, jerky, all out of plants, the proteins in the plants. Now this could be steel bunker created from the steel containers like cargo. You put those underground, bury them, connect them, build them into a living structure. That's underground living. You also would have the hemp in the surrounding land, because if you buy 5 to 14 acres of land, all the surrounding land can be hemp. This could be an entire acre base that goes up 20 floors, whatever the fuck, however you want to do it. But ultimately, when you build that, that literally sustains the whole charity. You get more than enough food for the 10 to 50 people that could live on that land, and then you sell the excess to the surrounding towns. One of our followers, or one of our fellows, whatever you want to call us, because we're all followers, even me. I follow God, the universe, whatever the fuck you want to call it. One of our fellow followers has a food truck that can literally deliver the food, and we can spread it across the fucking state, and we can build and open more of these. If each charity makes projected $11 million every 3 months off of hemp, CBD, or THC bud alone, just the bud that you smoke, then realistically every 3 months we could start at least 10 charities with that money, and that would be $1 million for each charity, which is ridiculous.
Just fucking takes off.
Yeah, so basically by the end of 2020, we should have the first charity up and running, fully sustainable, fully in function. 2021, we should have enough of them across America that it's expanded and it's growing at an exponential rate beyond my own comprehension. So 2022, we expand to South America and Europe. 2023, we expand from Europe and South America and Canada to Africa, Asia, the Middle East.
And Australia.
Yeah, and then 2024, essentially the whole world should be under the charity, and at that point there's no more cities, towns, states, countries to build them in. So we just start buying real estate, giving people their houses back for free, and where the government won't let you grow crops and shit unregulated on your yard, all grass would essentially become vegetation. There would be no more grass, there would just be vegetation. You can walk up and pick a plant up off the ground and eat it. You no longer need food, you no longer need water, electricity, Wi-Fi, any of these things, because they're all provided for free. So what do you do if you don't have to do anything? Well, you literally find out what it is that you want to devote your life to, and you do that. That is your purpose.
Because who wants to fucking mow the grass anyways? It's counterproductive and a waste of time. Why spend your day torturing grass when you could have a full fucking garden that you could be eating out of?
Yeah, I mean,
But
like,
you can't do that because the fucking government wants you to stay enslaved to your job, where you fucking have to use pieces of paper to get the things that the earth gives us for free.
and it's funny because did you know money's not even made of paper? It's actually made of cotton. So when
I
people,
thought it was papyrus.
Nah, it's cotton. It's like 90% cotton if I recall correctly. But still, that goes to say, people say money doesn't grow on trees. It actually literally does. We take plants and turn them into paper money. Not only that, money's not based on money. Money's based on gold. Gold is a rock that comes freely out of the ground. So it doesn't grow on trees. It comes out of the earth. But we give it the value that it has, so we place a value on the earth, which makes no sense at all. But anyways, even when people say that plants release supersonic screams at a low frequency that we can't hear, they're trying to say that to deter veganism, where it's like, oh, well, plants are alive too. They are alive. And it's like I told my buddy, Curtis, he is vegan. He doesn't think that it's wrong to eat plants still, and he doesn't think it's wrong to kill them because, like I've explained to him, like he agrees with to a degree, plants don't care if you kill them because they're not conscious of sentient thought. They are existing, so when you cut them in half, it's like, oh my god, why did you cut me in half? That's your grass screaming at you every time you mow it, because you didn't mow it for a purpose. A plant's down to die for a purpose, just like I am. I am totally down to die for this cause. You want to kill me? Feel free. I don't give a fuck. You just freed me. You want to kill a tree? It doesn't give a fuck. Now it's a table. That table will serve you as long as you need it. As soon as you neglect it and you decide that it's useless, it will deteriorate and rot, because the plant no longer serves a purpose. If you cut it down for no reason, it'll wither away. If you cut it down for a purpose, it will serve that purpose until it no longer has a purpose, and then it will wither away and rot and go back to the earth from which it came. Animals are different, because they are sentient thoughts. So when you kill an animal, it's like, why did you take me from my child, my family, my life? And if you put it into a farm where it doesn't have those things, like, why did you birth me just to pump me full of shit and then kill me and then use my meat, but not even use all of it? You literally killed me to throw away all 180 pounds of meat that I gave you, and now it's in the trash because I don't even feed homeless people because it's against the law.
Like, there's that, I forget what fucking, if it was even in the United States, but there was a dude that got arrested for the second time in a row for trying to fucking feed the homeless people. It's like, like, shit's real, dude. Like, it fucking is bullshit. Like,
I mean, and it's like, if it's such a priority that we eat meat, feel free to eat meat. You can hunt it, you can kill it. You kill a deer, one deer will last you 6 months to 8 months. So if you kill one cow, that should realistically last you a year. If you kill 150 million cows in a day, which is the statistic in America, there's only 330 million Americans. So in 2 days, you kill enough cows for the whole fucking year. But we kill those cows every single day of the year. So if we're killing enough cows to feed the whole country in 2 days, why are we killing them every other 363 days? Because we throw away the shit that we don't use. We throw away 363 days worth of fucking meat that would feed everybody for a year. So realistically, you're throwing away 180 days worth, or 180 years worth of meat for the entire country a year. 180 years worth of meat a year is thrown away because only 2 of those days fucking matter.
Yeah.
But we do it every day, so makes no sense.
And it's like, we can't force you to stop eating meat, but it's like, if you're gonna do it and we can't stop you, we can offer you a more waste, an alternative that's, you know, if you're gonna like do this and we can't stop you right now, then you like may as well be doing it yourself.
Yeah.
Like, instead of having it through this whole system of unnecessary waste.
And it's like that time we were at that protest and you had that librarian lady come up to me and she's like, well, I don't like your PETA signs because they show really graphic images that children shouldn't see. The logic is the same here as it was there. Well, yeah, kids shouldn't have to see this shit. We shouldn't be a part of it. But at the same time, we're not seeing the cow that we kill when we go into McDonald's. All we see is a burger that we want. Like, now, you can get a vegan burger. If you kill the cow, you're not killing the cow person when you buy your child a McDonald's, but if you give your kid chicken nuggets, your child literally put that chicken into the fucking cage where it was living its entire life, becoming one with the cage because its fucking bones and the skin literally melt to the cage because it never leaves it. So then your kid basically did that to the chicken because you bought that kid the chicken nuggets he ate. Now if you kill the chicken, you know the life it lived. You gave it love or you didn't give it love, and if you didn't give it love, you're kind of a shitty human being. But if you gave it love and you killed it, you made that choice, you know what you did, you know what is in the food you're eating. Now you don't want to kill animals, so then don't eat them.
Exactly.
And not only that, it's like Curtis said, we're not focused on changing every single person, we're focused on giving them the alternative. If you've got a Tesseract pyramid in every single city, state, town, all around the world, to a point where we're making enough food that nothing needs to go hungry. Like, we can literally feed animals plant-based meat. And as you know, animals can be trained through habitual patterns. So if you continuously feed it the same place all the time, anytime it comes up to you, you feed it, it will now know it no longer needs to hunt because it can get food from the pyramid that it goes to. Now, if that becomes a thing, the only reason that you would ever eat meat is because you wanted the meat, you hunted it, you took the life. Why would you do that when you don't have to? That brings about where the alternative becomes the option, because you go to Walmart because it's convenient. That's why you don't hunt. You'd rather go to the store and get the food.
Exactly.
If all the food is plant-based, why then would you look for meat unless you're down to truly kill an animal? Because nobody does that anymore and we don't cater to it and we don't provide that. You have to kill the animal now. If you can't live with yourself killing the animal, nobody's eating meat. If you can still live with that, at some point those people, they won't die off because we kill them. They'll just die off because people are more aware that they just don't need to do that and they don't want to do it, and it's literally healthier to live a plant-based diet.
Like, if you realized how much like resources go into that meat that you're eating, you would see that either you had to go out and find it from the wild while it was subsisting off its own resources, or you would have to raise it yourself and provide all those resources for it. So you would realize it takes like way more resources to raise these animals than if you were just using those resources for yourself. You wouldn't have to maintain the animal, you wouldn't have to chase it down or anything. You wouldn't have to look at the violence that you create that it goes into killing the animal, which most people claim to be animal lovers. So it's like, it doesn't make any sense. Like,
yeah, and I mean, you look at the cow farms and they use way more water, crops, and resources to fund them and to feed them and keep them nourished than they actually provide food, sustenance, and we throw away most of it. And at the same time, I mean, it's just those kinds of ironies. But that's going back to veganism, but going back to the charity, literally, artistic movement funds the charity. The charity, it actually will make a projected $250 million a year at full functions, at full success rates. That's a minimum yield though. It could make upwards of 500 mil, but 250 million is the minimum projection based off of every aspect of it working in unison with itself. And keep in mind, self-sustaining, so we're not spending any of that money. All that money literally goes to opening more charities. Realistically, $100,000 would make a really good, really sustaining, already functioning charity. $50,000 would be good for a regular one. It can start with minimum of $20,000. That's where you just build it from ground up to get it functional. But if you want to start with a functional one, $50,000 to $100,000 is good. If you're making $11 million a quarter minimum from cannabis bud alone, you're making a projected $250 to $500 million. At that point, you can open a ridiculous amount of charities, somewhere along the lines of 250 to 500 charities per charity can be opened by one. So if one charity opens 250 to 500, those 250 to 500 will open another 250 to 500.
It's
so
fucking exponential.
yeah, it's an avalanche effect. You get a snowball, roll it down the mountain. By the time it gets to the base of the mountain, it's bigger than a fucking skyscraper. That's the charity. We build the first one. Within 4 years, we take over the entire world. Except we don't take over the world. We just take it back from the people who sold it to us because it had no price tag to begin with. We just let them tell us it had one.
Yeah.
And we buy into that.
It's like you're working your shitty jobs. Most people, a majority of people are working a job that they don't like, then to get the fucking pieces of paper, to get the things that they need, because you need your house, your shelter, you need your water, you need your food. That's really all we fucking need to live and survive as a fucking animal. So why keep working this shit that you don't want to do when you could have all the things you need for free and then just do whatever the fuck you want to do? And then there's no, like, say, even if you have a job that you enjoy and you like doing it, like, you don't have to have the pressure of needing that money for whatever it is to do. So whatever it is that you're doing won't be tainted by your desire for the money.
And
It'll
even when you look at
it'll
it-
be full on, like, your desire to do the best product that you're doing. So everything will just be better. It's like musicians won't be selling out because they're trying to sell you music. They'll actually be playing the music they want to fucking play.
It's like you look at Kurt Cobain, he killed himself because they told him, like, well, I mean, they say he killed himself. Who the fuck knows? But, like, he was saying, like, because I remember I've read his journals, biography, diary, because he had a diary, it was, like, on a book. But, I mean, ultimately, one of his things he was saying is that they were censoring his work. The songs he liked did not get the recognition that he wanted them to. The songs he hated that he had to sell out for are the ones that got big, like Smells Like Teen Spirit. He hated that shit. So it's like, you wonder why people are miserable. It's because you literally force them to be miserable to sell themselves for the revenue that they need to fund themselves. Look at doctors. You go to school, go to get a college degree, you become a doctor. Now you're like hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt and you don't make enough to pay the debt off. So you literally work doing your dream job to break even for all the money and all the resources and all the time and effort it costs you to get where you want to be. And now that you're where you want to be, you're set back 20 steps behind, so you got to work doing what you want. And now you're eventually going to hate it because they're forcing you to do it until you get to the point where you want to be. But at that point now, you're at the retirement age. Your Social Security is gone because that's literally just an imaginary number that they give you. Like, oh, same thing with savings bonds. If you give us $50 for this piece of paper certificate savings bond, we'll give you $500 in 10 years. Now, why are they going to give you $500 for 50? Because they don't have that money. They're going to take your 50 to fund their war. They're going to profit from it. And just like the stock market, you make the investment, they'll give you the reward. But that reward is a concept. So at some point, if the economy collapses and you got all these savings bonds, hey, yeah, I know we took your money and promised you more money later, but now that it's later, we don't have that money, so you can go fuck yourself. And what are you gonna do? Bomb the fucking government building? No, you're just gonna accept it and take that dick in your ass. And then you're gonna complain about how hard and how uncomfortable it is, but you're literally the one that sat on it and put it inside. Like, you can't even cry at that point.
It's like people are working, slaving away, doing shit that they don't want to do for things they don't need. It's like, you want all these fucking big fancy, like, shit. It's like, you don't need this shit. It's like we're all competing with each other for shit that we don't need. It's like, what are you trying to prove? Who are you trying to prove it to? We're all the same, we're all equal, and that's the singularity we're trying to work towards, is this understanding between us all, that we don't need to be competing with each other for these materialistic possessions that just enslave us. Because you feel like you need this house to be as good as somebody else. But you don't need that, like, big fancy house. You just need a simple shelter. It's like you're just enslaving yourself to your own desire to be better, to outdo other people in this stupid social hierarchy.
And it's like with Dragosh, I mean, not Dragosh, but one of my buddies, he was telling me fucking, why instead of getting $1,000 car, don't you spend more money and driving something more appropriate, like you're Jesus, so like why don't you like rep yourself better? And it's like, well, I mean, I can get this $1,000 car that our friend Gabe offered us, and that car is going to get us where we need to go. It's going to house all the travelers that are coming with us in the caravan until we get the people with the other vehicles that will provide more accommodations for more of us. But if I spend $1,000 on a car, $10,000 on a car, or $5,000 on a car, What's the difference between the car? I don't even know what make and model Gabe's car is. I just know that he's offered it to us for $1,000. It's perfectly running. He got a second car, and that one no longer serves him. It's perfectly running. That's why he offered it to us, because he believes in the cause. Now, for $1,000 to get a car that will seat between 4 to 5 people as a sedan, I don't know what kind of make and model it is. I don't really give a shit. It could be a Toyota Corolla, Camry, it could be a Honda Civic, it could be a BMW, it could be a shitty Chevy Cavalier. I don't give a fuck. Because at the end of the day, it's a vehicle that serves a purpose. Other people don't have that logic. It's like, well, I need a house for my family, my wife and kids. We just need a 2-bedroom house. You could just buy that 2-bedroom house for $75,000. Instead, you'd rather spend $350,000 to get the one that looks nicer than everybody else's houses, even though it has the same amount of rooms and the same amount of space. Might even have less space. Might just look nicer. Who gives a fuck? Like, I'm buying it because it's an expensive house and I want people to see that I provide the best for my family. Well, really, you should just provide what they need, which is a house, food, water,
and not
sustenance.
give a fuck.
Yeah, I mean, you
just
could
be good.
Like, spend $100 on a shirt with a logo on it, or spend $5 for a shirt that does the exact same thing just without the logo. Like, why do you need the fucking logo?
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, that's where I say that we fight wars based on economics at this point, because at the end of the day, you look at Nike and you look at Adidas, you look at PlayStation and Xbox, BMW and Chevy, all these people fight over which brand is better, and they spend all their money trying to prove it and rep it. It's like, you're literally buying yourself a uniform to fight this country's army, but really it's not even a country, it's a corporation, and you're literally selling yourself, sucking their dick for $7.50 an hour, so that you can buy their shit for $100 an item to brag about how great they are when they don't even give a fuck about you. That UPS driver was working for UPS. He wasn't repping UPS. He died because the police shot him in a hostage situation where the robbers, whatever, stole his UPS truck and kept him as a hostage. He died. Now, UPS didn't even pay for the funeral. They started a GoFundMe that the family and the friends and anyone who gave a shit could fund it. Now, that's a multi-million corporation that doesn't give a fuck about their employee, but their employee never would have missed a day of work because he gave so much of a fuck, because what would he do without them? But what would they do without him? What would they do without him? Oh, well, let's just hire another piece of shit to just not give a fuck about and just pay the minimum wage. And then when he dies, we'll just GoFundMe him too. And I mean, I don't even know if they took the GoFundMe down, because I know I got some negative criticism online, but corporations don't give a fuck what you think. Otherwise, they wouldn't be selling you the poisons that they put into your food, water, and air.
Yep.
But they do, because they don't give a fuck.
And we've talked about that before, but I think we can go into that on another video. This is more on the fucking plan, because some of our friends had they wanted more elaboration. So, you want to call this an episode?
Yeah, I mean, I guess we can do a pretty much summarization of the plan, where step one is get $1,000 for the car.
Recap.
Yeah, like a little recap summary. So, step one, get $1,000 for the second car. We've got 3 followers in Virginia Beach. We're going to go to Norfolk. We got another follower. North Carolina. We got another follower there. We pick him up. There's another dude that either wants to see us and possibly join us, unaware of that yet. So we're going to visit him potentially, most likely. And then from there, we're going to go to South Carolina. We got some other contacts there. Potentially, maybe people might join us, or they might just want to see the shtick. Don't really care either way. We're going to visit them. From there, Florida. Florida, we might have some potential for income. And then at the same time, you look at Florida, man, I'm pretty sure Crazy Jesus, the disciples, the Antichrist, whatever the fuck you call us, would kick off in Florida. So we can do maybe a little festival thing there. From there, we go to Texas. Texas, we go to California with another follower. And then California, we pick up yet another follower, and that's where we kick off in Venice, because hey, Hollywood Jesus is dead. I'm the real Jesus, I'm back. And then we perform in Venice, and the Antichrists will speak their message, and we will continue from there, probably to Colorado. I don't think we have any stops before that, but at the same time, all of this is subject to change. The second we leave, we're not on a time scale, we're just on a set of destinations we already have, and those could be increased or decreased depending on how the circumstances arise. Ultimately, once we're traveling, the main goal from there is to save up roughly 10 to 15,000 so we can get the land and get enough resources and accommodations to get started. Once we get started, we take the continuing revenue and we can even do festivals on the site, or we can go travel from there too. July, we're going on tour with a band called Alpha. We might even potentially join with a band called Hippie Beatdown. They both seem very interested. And these guys already have fan bases. We already have our fan base. If our fan bases combine, it just makes both of our tours bigger. So it's a bigger festival. Now, at the end of the day, like I said, we're living bill free. So this is literally free income that we're making to further the agenda. At some point down the line, when the first charity commune is running, avalanche effect, we open shit tons in America. From America, we expand to Canada, South America. Once we take over the Americas, we take over Eurasia, and then Africa. The whole world is ours. Except when I say ours, I mean all of humanity's, because we're all equal. There is no leader. I will literally take off this fucking robe once we are done. I don't like being Jesus. I don't hate being Jesus. I just realize it is a shtick. It is my fate, my destiny. I follow it, just like Curtis follows his. We all follow ours. We're trying to help the world to get back on track. Oh, and there's also some followers in Canada too. I forgot to mention that, but
Yeah.
there's so many aspects to the plan. I can go into more elaborate details as can Curtis. We just need to know the direction to focus the explanations. That's why we do more than one video, because you can't explain everything in one.
Yup, basically.
I guess that's the recap. You want to add anything, or you
No,
cut it, I suppose?
pretty good. Alright, yeah. Fucking anti-cash money, baby.
Fuck society, bitch.